Beloved chosen, you are not here by accident. This moment did not stumble upon you randomly. It was orchestrated. It was aligned. It was permitted. There are seasons when heaven whispers, and there are seasons when heaven summons. This is a summons. You did not click on this message out of curiosity alone. You were drawn. And if you are here right now, reading or listening, it is because you are standing at a sacred intersection between exhaustion and restoration. I see your weariness, chosen. I feel the heaviness you have been carrying, the silent battles, the invisible responsibilities, the strength you have had to project while privately feeling drained. You have been strong for too long without pause. You have been giving without always receiving. And today, you are in the right place at the right time. Not later, not yesterday, now. Before we go any further, I invite you gently and with intention to subscribe to this channel, not as a routine action, but as a declaration. When you subscribe, you are saying, I choose alignment, I choose growth, I choose restoration. Activate the notification bell, not merely to receive updates, but to receive reminders. Let every notification be like a spiritual call that says, return to your center. Return to your strength. Share this prayer with someone you love. When you send light forward, light circles back to you. There are people around you who are tired in silence. Your act of sharing may become their lifeline. When you extend restoration to others, you multiply it in your own life. Love moves in cycles, and today you are part of that sacred movement. Now, before we continue, leave a comment, something simple, something intentional. Write, I am ready. Write, I receive. Write, restore my strength. This is not for algorithms. This is for alignment. Your written words are seeds, and when you declare readiness, you prepare your spirit to receive what is about to be released. Understand this clearly. This prayer is not ordinary. This is not background noise. This is not motivational entertainment. This is a moment of recalibration. Something within you has been flickering, and today that flame will be guarded and strengthened. You are not late. You are not behind. You are precisely where you must be. Stay focused, chosen. Give this moment your attention. If your mind tries to wander, gently bring it back. If your thoughts feel scattered, allow these words to gather them. And if you are deeply tired, so tired that even listening feels heavy, then let this prayer play as you rest. Let it surround you while you sleep. Your spirit does not require your physical alertness to receive restoration. Even in rest, renewal can begin. Take a breath now, slowly, deeply. You have entered sacred preparation. Today marks the beginning of your restoration. Chosen, let us speak truth without fear. Your energy has not been fading without reason. You have not become weak. You have not become incapable. What you have been experiencing is an invisible drain, subtle, persistent, and often unnoticed, until your spirit begins to feel heavy. Energy does not disappear randomly. It leaks through cracks formed by pressure, by responsibility, by silent endurance. You have been carrying weight that was never assigned to you. Responsibilities that were meant to be shared became yours alone. Problems that were not born from your decisions somehow found refuge on your shoulders. And because you are strong, because you are dependable, because you are the one others rely on, you accepted them. But strength without boundaries becomes depletion. Emotional overload has been quietly consuming you. You have been processing your pain, while also absorbing the emotions of others, listening, advising, supporting, encouraging, yet rarely pausing long enough to empty what you absorbed. The heart was never designed to be a storage room for everyone's storms. And when you store too much for too long, your inner light begins to dim, not because it is gone, but because it is overburdened. There are also the silent battles, the ones no one applauds you for fighting, the constant inner negotiations, the decisions you had to make alone, the discipline you maintained when no one was watching, the temptation you resisted, the tears you swallowed. Every unseen fight requires energy. Every internal resistance consumes strength, and you have been resisting more than anyone knows. You have been vigilant, always alert, always calculating the next step, always preparing for what could go wrong. Living in constant readiness may look like wisdom, but prolonged vigilance exhausts the nervous system and fragments your vitality. Your body can rest, yet your mind continues to guard, and this quiet guarding has been draining you day after day. Suppressed needs have also contributed. You postponed your own rest, delayed your own joy, silenced your own desires. You told yourself later. You told yourself others first. But the soul does not thrive on postponement forever. When your own needs remain unheard, your spirit begins to withdraw its enthusiasm as protection. Unresolved disappointment plays its role as well. Expectations that did not materialize, efforts that were not recognized, prayers that felt delayed. You told yourself to move on quickly, to stay positive, to remain grateful. And while gratitude is powerful, unprocessed disappointment quietly drains hope. Hope is energy, and when hope feels deferred, vitality diminishes. There has also been the absorption of negativity, spoken and unspoken, words that questioned you, doubts projected onto you, environments thick with tension. You may not have reacted outwardly, but your spirit registered everything. Energy decreases not only from physical labor. Understand this clearly. Your fatigue is not a verdict against you. It is evidence that you have been fighting. It is proof that you have been standing when it would have been easier to collapse. It is confirmation that you have been giving more than you have allowed yourself to receive. You are not breaking. You are signaling. Exhaustion is not failure. It is communication. Your inner being is saying something must shift, and today, chosen that shift begins with awareness. Because once you recognize the invisible drain, you reclaim the power to close it. Your energy has not vanished. It has been dispersed. And what has been dispersed can be gathered. What has been leaking can be sealed. This is not the end of your strength. This is the turning point where you begin to restore it. Chosen, there are battles that leave bruises, and there are battles that leave silence. You have been engaged in the second kind, the kind no one sees, the kind no one congratulates you for surviving, the kind that unfolds behind composed smiles and steady voices. This is the silent warfare that has been draining your strength. Not every attack announces itself loudly. Some arrive as subtle doubt, a whisper that questions your ability, a thought that suggests you are behind. A quiet comparison that measures your journey against someone else's highlight. Comparison is a thief that does not break doors. It slips through windows. And once inside, it begins to steal confidence, focus, and energy. There have been days when confusion hovered over your decisions. You questioned paths you once felt certain about. You reconsidered dreams you once pursued boldly. That mental back and forth is exhausting. Indecision fragments energy. When your mind is divided, your strength is divided, and division within is one of the most draining forms of warfare. Discouragement has also played its part. Small setbacks that accumulated, delays that stretched longer than expected, efforts that seemed unnoticed. Discouragement rarely shouts its size. It slowly persuades you to lower your expectations. It suggests you conserve your hope to avoid disappointment. But conserving hope is not the same as protecting it. And when hope diminishes, vitality follows. Fear has been another silent contender. Not always dramatic fear, but subtle anticipation of loss. Fear of making the wrong decision. Fear of trusting again. Fear of investing energy only to feel drained once more. Even low-level fear keeps the nervous system alert. It prevents full rest. It keeps you in preparation mode instead of peace. And prolonged preparation without resolution consumes life force. Worry has fractured your inner strength as well. Replaying conversations, anticipating outcomes, constructing scenarios, the mind attempting to control what it cannot predict. Worry feels productive, but it is rarely productive. It is repetitive motion without forward movement, and repetitive internal motion drains stamina. You have also been fighting expectations, some placed on you by others, some created within yourself. The pressure to be consistent, the pressure to be strong, the pressure to not disappoint. Pressure compresses energy. Over time, compression leads to fatigue, and you have been compressed in ways few understand. As one of the chosen, your light attracts both admiration and resistance. When you carry vision, when you carry sensitivity, when you carry purpose, you become a presence that shifts environments. Not everyone is comfortable with that, and sometimes resistance manifests as misunderstanding, subtle opposition or distancing. This too is warfare, not always dramatic but deeply felt. But hear this clearly. Fatigue is not defeat. Tired does not mean conquered. Drained does not mean destroyed. The fact that you feel weary proves you have been standing, and standing in unseen battles requires extraordinary resilience. There are also internal wars, the conflict between who you are becoming and who you used to be. Growth is beautiful, but transition is demanding. When you outgrow patterns, relationships or mindsets, there is tension. Letting go requires energy. Stepping forward requires courage. And living between versions of yourself can feel disorienting. You may have interpreted your exhaustion as weakness. You may have wondered if something was wrong with you. But nothing is wrong with you. You have simply been engaged in layered battles without fully recognizing them. Awareness changes everything. When you name the warfare, you reclaim authority over it. Your sensitivity is not fragility. Your reflection is not overthinking. Your caution is not cowardice. These are signs of someone who carries depth, and depth often navigates currents others never notice. Recognize this, chosen. You have been navigating emotional crosswinds, mental tension, spiritual resistance, and personal evolution simultaneously. Anyone would feel tired under such weight. The difference is that you kept moving. Now awareness becomes your turning point. Once you see the hidden battles, you stop blaming yourself for feeling drained. You begin to understand that your energy was not lost. It was invested in survival, in growth, in protection, and what was invested can be restored. What was spent in battle can be replenished in peace. You are not failing. You are transitioning, and transition always precedes renewal. Chosen, now that you see the invisible drains and recognize the silent warfare, it is time to stand in authority. Awareness without action leaves the door half open. But today, we close what has been leaking your strength. Today, you reclaim what has been scattered. First, we speak to fear. Fear, you have lingered long enough. You have whispered worst-case scenarios into a mind that was meant to envision possibility. You have kept the chosen in cautious hesitation when boldness was required. But you no longer have permission to siphon their vitality. Chosen, say within yourself, I release anticipatory fear. I refuse to rehearse disaster. My energy will not be consumed by imagined outcomes. Now we address anxiety, that restless current beneath the surface, that subtle urgency that says something is always wrong. Anxiety has kept your nervous system alert, even in safe spaces. It has made rest feel unnatural, but rest is your birthright. Breathe deeply now. Slow the internal rush. Your body must learn safety again. Your mind must learn stillness again. Energy returns when urgency departs. We speak to spiritual heaviness, the unexplainable weight that settled without invitation. Sometimes you woke already tired. Sometimes you felt resistance before the day began. Heaviness, you are not permanent. You are not prophetic. You are not destiny. You are a cloud, and clouds move. Chosen, envision light breaking through that density. What feels thick can become thin. What feels heavy can lift. Now we confront toxic words, spoken over you or absorbed through repetition. Words that questioned your worth. Words that minimized your vision. Words that labeled you incorrectly. Those words attach themselves like small hooks, pulling at your confidence. But today, those hooks are removed. Chosen, declare, I reject every label that does not align with truth. I silence every echo that diminishes my identity. Self-doubt, step forward. You have disguised yourself as humility. You have presented yourself as caution. Yet your root is fear of inadequacy. Self-doubt divides focus. It fractures momentum. Chosen, gather your certainty. You are allowed to trust your instincts. You are allowed to believe you are capable. Confidence is not arrogance. It is alignment. Internal criticism must also be addressed. The voice that replays mistakes. The voice that magnifies flaws. The voice that demands perfection before permission to rest. That voice has drained more energy than any external opponent. Chosen, speak compassion to yourself. You are growing, not performing. You are evolving, not competing. Perfection is not the requirement for peace. Now we speak about boundaries. Energy leaks where boundaries are absent. When you say yes without capacity. When you listen without limits. When you give without replenishing. Restoration requires separation. Not isolation, but discernment. Not coldness, but clarity. Now we speak about boundaries. Energy leaks where boundaries are absent. When you say yes without capacity. When you listen without limits. When you give without replenishing. Restoration requires separation. Not isolation, but discernment. Not coldness, but clarity. Chosen, you may love without overextending. You may support without absorbing. You may care without carrying what is not yours. Picture your energy as light scattered across many rooms. Conversations that linger. Regrets that replay. Futures that have not yet arrived. Gently call that light back. Call it from yesterday. Call it from tomorrow. Call it from relationships that demand more than they return. Your energy belongs in your present body, not dispersed across endless possibilities. Release what is not yours to solve. Release outcomes you cannot control. Release the burden of being everyone's answer. You are not required to rescue every situation. You are responsible for stewardship of your own vitality. As you release, protection rises. Envision a boundary of calm around you. Not walls of fear, but a perimeter of wisdom. What enters must align with your peace. What disrupts repeatedly cannot remain unchecked. Protection is not aggression. It is preservation. Chosen, your energy is sacred currency. Spend it intentionally. Guard it gently. Restore it consistently. Leakage ends when awareness meets decision. And today you decide. What drained you no longer governs you. What scattered you no longer defines you. You are sealing the cracks. You are reclaiming the light. You are strengthening the foundation. Stand tall within yourself. Feel the shift. The leaks are closing. The flow is stabilizing. The authority is returning. And when authority returns, restoration accelerates.